Hello everybody, we are going to be doing the advanced functions and modeling logarithmic and exponential functions test review. The first section on here is about graphing. It's saying here is an equation and choose multiple choice which one would match which graph. The easiest way to do this is to take advantage of the fact that it's multiple choice by just kind of paying attention to where the asymptotes have to be and what type of asymptotes they are. By that I mean if it's an exponential function, you know it's going to have a horizontal asymptote. And if it is a log question, then it's going to have a vertical asymptote. That is part of it. The other part is just keeping in mind where the asymptote is located within the equation. By that I mean this one is an exponential, and an exponential, this is going to be the horizontal asymptote. And my pen is not working, so I'm going to get another one. Okay. So as I said, but you can't see, -3 is going to be where the asymptote is. And since this is exponential, it's going to have a horizontal asymptote at -3. So like here, this choice A has a horizontal at -3. This one does not have a horizontal at -3. This does not even go to -3, not -3, not -3, and not -3. So as you can see, there's only one choice here that has an asymptote at -3, so that automatically has to be the answer. For number 2, this one has an asymptote at +3, and once again, it's going to be horizontal. So horizontal at 3, it's not that. I can probably just mark this off. Horizontal at 3, that's a 1, so no. 3 is off the graph. 3 right here. So maybe it's E, maybe, because it has a horizontal asymptote at 3. This one at 3 has a horizontal asymptote, maybe. So maybe it's C. And horizontal at, yeah, not going to be there. Okay. So it's kind of between E and C, maybe, telling which one it is. So the way you can do it between that is you can look at this and say this is a 5/2. 5/2, since that is more than 1, shows that it's going to be growth. That's another type of question you get sometimes. If the base here is more than 1, it's growth, which means it's going to end going up. And that way you can kind of see, well, it kind of has to be E in this case. So this is going to be the answer. You could also like plug in a number. That's when we did it by hand. Like what number makes the exponent 0? The answer is -1. -1 would make this 0. So if I plugged in -1, the exponent would be 0. And anything to the 0 power is 1. And 1 plus 3 is 4. So your graph has to go through -1, 4. And when it comes to multiple choice, you only need 1 point most of the time, because we only had to do between E and C. So -1, 4, -1, 4. It's going through that point. This one, if you look at it, -1, 4, it's nowhere near, so it can't be that one. So this is the only one that has an asymptote at 3 and goes through the point -1, 4. So there you go. 3. 3 is a log problem, so it's going to have a vertical asymptote, and the way you find the vertical asymptote is different. Back when we were graphing this, I told you guys to like get x by itself, so like you'd have to subtract 2 from both sides, exponentiate, and then add 3. And after you added 3, you could look for the asymptote. But realistically, if you don't have to graph it by hand and you're just looking for the asymptote, the easiest way to find it is to just take the stuff inside of the log and set it equal to 0. So if you have x minus 3 equals 0, that means x equals 3. So there is a vertical asymptote at 3. And I'm going to go. So vertical at +3, not Yes, there is a vertical asymptote at 3, so maybe it's C, and a vertical asymptote at 3, no. So already I know the answer is C, because it's the only one with the correct asymptote. For this one, log of x minus 2. So once again, I'm going to take the stuff inside of the log and set it equal to 0 to get x equals 2. So there's a vertical asymptote at 2. Vertical at 2, vertical at 2, so maybe it's B. No, no, and vertical at 2. So it could be F and it could be B, one of the two. Not sure which. So B and F, one of those two. So already you can at least like limit it down to that if you don't know how to do the rest. In order to do the rest, you are going to have to kind of get a point. So you would have to like solve for x like we did in class, which is first of all to say that the base is 10. And since the base is 10, you need to exponentiate both sides to cancel it out. So you would put the 10 here, so those would cancel. And this is 10 to the f of x, or I'm just going to use y. 10 to the y equals x minus 2. And if you add 2 to both sides, you would get 10 to the y plus 2 is equal to x. And you can just choose a number for y and find out what x is. We used to do a table with 3 values. I'm just going to do 1 and see if that'll get me the answer between b and f. So what number makes the exponent 0? Well, in this case, it's just 0. So if I plug in 0 for y, then 10 to the 0 is 1, and 1 plus 2 is 3. So it has to go through the point 3, 0. So B is going through 3, 0. F is also going through 3, 0. So that's not enough to go off of right now. So I'll try another one. Let's try 1. If it's 10 to the first power, that's 10 plus 2 is 12. So it has to go through 12, 1, which is going to be off the graph, right? 12, 1, like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would be like right here, which it looks like this is probably not going to go towards, so it's probably not going to be B. With F, this is 6, so like twice that distance. You know, this is 6, so this would be 12. 12 going to 1, that seems pretty believable to me because this is 1. It's going to eventually reach up like over there where 12 would be. So the answer is going to be F. Yeah, so you could have also chosen like -1 if you really felt like it. Then 10 to the negative first, negative exponents change it to fractions, so it would be 1/10 plus 2, which is 2 1/10. So 2 1/10, you know, if you went to 2 and 1/10, it should be exactly -1, which maybe it is. 2 and 1/10, exactly -1, which is right there. So that one was harder to tell, so it's probably best just to go with the 12 one. Okay. As for this one, if you notice that it's going to turn out to be the exact same as the last question. If you set this equal to 0, you get x equals 2, so it has a vertical asymptote at 2. So not vertical asymptote at 2, not vertical asymptote at 2, not vertical, oh wait, yes, vertical asymptote at 2. But the thing is, we already crossed out the other one with a vertical asymptote at 2. Oop. So it has to be B already by process elimination. So, you know, of the choices, D is the only one that's left, so this one's got to be D. And that would just be from setting this equal to 0 again. If x plus 3 equals 0, you get x equals -3. And sure enough, there's an asymptote here at -3. So there you go. That is the multiple choice problems for solving these graphing questions. So we'll do the next page in the next video.